In 2000, the voters passed a referendum that would have lowered the state income tax from 5.95% to 5%, and the legislature kind of put the brakes on that. I think we're at 5.3%.
5.3.
And there's a fairly complex set of benchmarks that we have to hit if it's to continue to go down lower than that. Did the voters make a mistake in 2000, or should the income tax be set at 5%?
The voters didn't make a mistake, and the income tax should eventually be set at 5%. But a tremendous amount of debate went into the change in that referendum, and the formula, which, as you've said, is a complicated formula, but it's not that complicated that it doesn't kick in. It's already kicked in a couple times and brought us down to the 5.3%. The formula is working. If the economic benchmarks and if the other measures that we're taking to incentivize economic development in the Commonwealth continue to work, those economic benchmarks will kick in and we'll be able to keep going down towards 5.0%, 5.0%.
Are there any other questions for Representative Naughton?
What's your opinion of the governor's veto on the COLA bill?
For state employees, state and local employees.
Sure. Question. The question is, what's your opinion on the veto, the governor's veto of the? It's the bill to give a cost of living increases for pensioners.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that should be overridden. I think we can afford it in the years to come. We've got plenty of time to plan it out, plan out the pension effects on it, plan out the investments that could be made by PRIM and PRIT, the state pension boards. I'm not really understanding the governor's rationale in that, but I think that veto should be overridden.
Just to follow up on that, I believe I read either today or yesterday in the newspaper that the governor says that he had asked to put a cap that the COLA only be for pensioners who are bringing home under $40,000, and that suggested that was the rationale for vetoing the entire bill, was because that wasn't
right. And unfortunately, the way the bill came out, it was all or nothing. And even Ralph White, the head of the state employee retirees group, has said maybe they bit off more than they could chew. So I actually, to expand upon my answer, think that when we go back into session, either later in the fall or the beginning of the new session in January, that's what you may see come up. You might see a less costly piece of legislation be brought forward by the appropriate committee within the House that would cost less and maybe would be more politically palatable to the governor. But even the head of the Public Employees Retirement Group suggested that maybe they bit off more than they can chew with that piece.
Around the area of increased spending, and specifically increased borrowing, the legislature has authorized nearly $16 billion in borrowing to fund programs like the Life Science Initiative, the Bridge and Road Repair Bill, upgrades to higher ed facilities. What do you see as the balance between authorizing that much borrowing and taking on additional debt? How do you balance between which projects are necessary and how much debt do we take on? That seems like that's an awful lot of money.
Well, I think any project that should be done in the 12th Worcester District is necessary and a priority. That's an advocacy stand. That's a stand you have to advocate for with the governor's office now. And just so everyone understands, that $16 billion isn't going to be, floated from Wall Street tomorrow and spent right away. Those are projects which can be cherry-picked. The projects such as the sound barriers in the town of Northborough that I was successful in getting $450,000 allocated for. It would be up to the interested parties, the legislators, the local selectmen to go and advocate at the governor, at the executive branch, to try to get those projects done. And I think we do, and it's the job of the governor to see that we don't overextend ourselves into debt like that. So all that $16 billion isn't going to be spent tomorrow or next year or even within the next 5 years. So I think it can be done in a way that is affordable by the Commonwealth. It's up to us as advocates for our constituents to advocate to the administration that our projects are truly affecting the quality of life of people in our districts.
Over the next few years, one of the projects that we may see in our area is increased rail service. Earlier this year, the state announced a $250,000 grant to study the possibility of bringing increased rail service to Clinton. The rail line, I believe, would run through Sterling and Lancaster, so it could affect many of the towns in the district. Even if the proposal goes forward, it would likely be 10 to 15 years before the rail service would become a reality. What can be done to bring public transportation to the region now, with gas prices as high as it is?
I know. Well, I have pride of authorship in that, and so I don't mind making it very clear that $250,000 grant was as a result of an amendment I filed in the House subsequent to talks with Lieutenant Governor Murray and the administration after they became interested in expanding rail service from Union Station in Worcester through West Boylston, Sterling, Clinton, and up into the North County. And I met with the administration and we talked about what a study would cost, and we came up with that figure, and I was able to prevail upon the Speaker and the Chair of the Ways and Means Committee to grant that to our district. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm proud of my colleagues over in the Senate for after I got it passed in the House to be able to carry it, and I'm happy with the administration that they signed it into law. But you're right. What we immediately have to do is bring pressure to bear on the regional transit authorities to do more. We may have to reconfigure our formulas of reimbursement from the Commonwealth to them. But right now there's very little bus service out in this area. I know we had numerous hearings in regard to bus service into the town of Clinton. And with the RTA saying, well, we get 4 passengers a day. Well, of course you get 4 passengers a day when you run a bus through at 9:15 in the morning and not 7 o'clock a.m. when people are looking to go to work.
And they're sending it to the Walmart
in West Boylston.
To Union Station.
Right.
But when they pick up a train, they go to...
So it's their reasoning I found a little lacking. So we've got to bring pressure to bear on them to get more realistic with their bus routes. Now, if that means reconfiguring their formula of reimbursement from the Commonwealth, we'll do that. We'll work with them. But come to us and show us. I'll support that if you show me that you can realistically take care of my constituents. If not, I'm going to take further action. We also, for years and years, there's been lacking. We also have MART, which sends vans down to the Clinton and Sterling area out of Fitchburg. And we need to increase our involvement with MART, because I think there's a lot more traffic these days from Clinton in Sterling and Lancaster towards North County than there is towards Worcester. And so that's the short-term effect. You're already seeing it in the cities with the greater ridership of the T. Right. So I think it's only these aren't supposed to be profit-making entities, but I think it's only the best business decision for these RTAs to start expanding their service back into the cities and towns. If they need some legislative help, that's what we're here for, and we'll give it to them. But we've got to bring the pressure to bear on them to return that bus service. I remember when I would ride the bus in and out to Assumption College every now and then.
You haven't faced a primary opponent. I don't think you have since you were elected in '94, have you?
Correct.
Why do you think you're facing a challenger now?
I don't know. You have to ask him.
Well, we did ask him, so I just didn't know if you had an opinion on. Okay.
I don't. I honestly don't. I think I'm very proud of my record. I'm very proud of the fact that my wife and I have built our lives, built our family in this district, in this time, in our hometown. We've lived there for our entire lives. We haven't gone and lived anyplace else. We've built our careers. My wife's in education. And a graduate of Worcester State College and Atlantic Union College in her master's degree. I'm incredibly proud of her. Our kids are in the Clinton Public Schools, all 4 of them. My youngest starting kindergarten this year. And as I think of that, I'm very proud of the life that we led and the life that we've put together, the marriage and family that we've built. And so I'm very committed to this district and to the people and the quality of life in the district, and I want to continue to serve and keep doing. So those are my reasons.